We got KG, who's going to be coming up here next. He's one of our other resident ball knowers. Did a lot of good during last year's draft, and his number one, we did a top 5 prospects at 5. I know he and Broder were both kind of lockstep with Terrion Arnold. And remember the night of the draft, we were wondering what the pick was going to be, and Broder broke the news that the Detroit Lions were so intent on trading Terrion Arnold that for drafting him that they would even trade up for him.
Yep.
So when that went down, it was dope to know that we were providing accurate and well thought out and well strategized and real well planned coverage, and we look forward to bringing that to you this year. I know Figer Law, they were excited. They got 6.5 million impressions from the draft coverage during that time, and a lot of that has to do with the coverage that you guys are bringing to the forefront. And KG is going to talk to you guys about Landon Jackson, Arkansas edge, and when you talk about Josiah Stewart, speed, and a little bit undersized, you would say 6'1", about 245, about the same build as a James Houston. This was on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
When you talking 6'7" and 280, man.
No, absolutely. And that's what jumps out right away when you look at this guy. 6'5", 273, almost an 83-inch wingspan. And I'm gonna go through a quick write-up real quick before we play the highlights. But yeah, man, this guy, he's lengthy, but he's not short on power. He's not short on strength at all. And he also runs a 4.6 40 from the defensive edge position. So this guy got some wheels. He runs a 4.6 40 from the DN position
at 6'7" and 280.
Yes.
Okay, that's a freight train.
My man, he is not messing around, man. So you got to give him some props there. 4-year player in the SEC. He did spend time at LSU his first year, but ended up transferring because he wasn't getting the playing time. But I mean, he got to Arkansas, man, in his first year of actual playing time. He had 4 TFLs, 3 sacks on 23 total tackles his first year. In year 3 and 4, he just exploded, man. 14 in 2023, 14 TFLs, 6.5 sacks on 44 total tackles and 1 pass defense. That's 2023. 2024, 10 TFLs, 6.5 sacks again on 49 total tackles and 3 passes defended in 2024. Now, I do think he got injured in the bowl game that they played, but overall, he's somebody that's had first all SEC or first team all SEC honors, and he followed that up with a second team All-American selection. And man, when we get into this film, and Chase, I'm a tag on you in a second, but just some quick things that I noticed. Versatility. And we all know what the Lions love. They love versatility. You already know. Shout out Spencer. You already know they love players that are versatile, that can do multiple things when they're out there. And he is somebody that impressed me, man. He, on the defensive line alone, he can do interior stunts. We talking 3 technique. We talking wide 9. If you want to stand him up and have him rush standing up, he can do that as well. And a lot of things that I like about him, he excels at setting the edge, man. He gets to his spots pretty quick. But you know, just because of how big he is, his speed is what really sneaks up on you. Like, you think he's just gonna bull rush you, and then he hits you with some speed, and you caught up in the wash after that.
Object and mirror are closer.
Yeah, no, that it's real, man. He's not afraid to use his size and strength on tackles, but he's not dependent on that, and that's something that you like out of a young player. He doesn't just rely on his physical attributes a lot. He's a really smart player, and I'm getting to that a little bit more as we go along. But he knows how to use his hands. He's got pass rush moves, man. His cross chop is pretty nasty, and I do have a highlight that's kind of highlighting that against Alabama. He has a nasty cross chop. He can bull rush you. Like I said, he can swim. He can literally swim around you,
got
man.
The Alabama take, because I know the word on the street is that he wrecked their whole game.
Man, he had a lot of like multiple sack games, bro. Like, to me, he kind of went slept on. And you know, it's Arkansas. They kind of trying to get back to relevance, but the fact that they had a defensive, he's a disruptor. That's what I describe him as. He's somebody that can come in and automatically disrupt. Real quick. Capable of changing direction and doesn't get locked into over pursuits. And I think that's something that even Aiden might have struggled with when he first came out. He's gotten better at it since being in the league, but having this as a young player already coming out the gate, I feel like is a very good skill. Exactly. We've seen, and not just our guys, you see young edge rushers struggle with this when they come into the league because they have to adjust for how strong some of these offensive tackles are in the league. So
one of the things that really caught my eye when you just kind of look into their body of work and who they are when it comes to practice, off-season work, and all of that, This guy put on over 40 pounds to his frame at Arkansas alone. But he's chiseled. That means that this guy is working his tail off to be everything that you say as it relates to the explosion. And for me, I can't wait to see the tape, because one of the things that I kind of picked up on is instinctually he just has that feel for the game at the edge rush position, the timing, getting off the edge, when to do his moves to get into the backfield, to get into pursuit. So,
but the last two attributes that I really liked about his tape, to me, are his IQ and his high motor. And you already know we love high motor players here in Detroit. This is why we love Hutch, is because he doesn't take plays off. He's there every single play, giving it his all. And you see a lot of that in Landon Jackson, man. He has great play recognition in the run game as well. He's not one-dimensional. He can play in the run just as good as he plays in the pass. He has gap integrity, can get backs on the ground pretty quickly, and he has a pretty decent lateral movement. You would like to see that improve a little bit at the pro level, just based on some of the speed that he'll face. But he is somebody that can handle that responsibility, and he can drop back in coverage. Like I said, I mentioned the passes defense. I do have a highlight in here I'm gonna show as well, and he can fight through double teams and be in chip, man, and that's something that you also want to see out of a young player as well. But Chase, you can go ahead and hit that tape real quick, and this first play I feel exudes his motor. If you just see him on the top half of your screen right there coming around, look how he just splits that double team right there, and we're going to get another replay at that. But I just love his commitment to just not being afraid of the double team, engaging, using his power and his body to just get through there. The second highlight is against Texas and Quinn Ewers. He's almost beaten on this play, I'm not gonna lie, but look how he adjusts mid-play and still able to get home and get that sack on Quinn Ewers, man. That was pretty good. I love this right here. He outpowers the tackle, man, and gets a strip sack right there. They're gonna run it back, but just
jumps off the screen. His motor.
Look at how he swims around. Oh, actually, this is a different play, but this is against Alabama again, I think. But yeah, look how he just blows that tackle up, man. Like he can use speed. He can use bull rush moves. You see him here in the run game, not giving up his gap integrity, staying inside, being able to read and diagnose the play quickly. And this is another run highlight as well. You see him getting to the outside, stopping that kind of speedy back from getting more yards than he should have. He stopped him on about 2-yard gain right there. Could have gotten more, but that's some of the lateral quickness that I was talking about. And here is the pass defense, one of them that he had during the year, and they're going to highlight it right here. He's the one that circled, and just look how seamlessly he drops back into coverage. He's not second guessing it. He's reading, he's diagnosing, and he makes a play on the football. Could have had an interception right there. And you know, we've seen Hutch make plays like that, being able to step back, read the situation, and get an interception or 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 for his career. So I like a lot of things about this guy, and I even dare to say he could be a star in this league if he gets the right coaching, if he gets in the right system, and if the Lions don't end up trading that first round pick for Myles Garrett, I feel like they have a good chance to get this guy, because he's one of the better edge rushers in this draft, but there are guys placed above him at this moment, so I think it's a good chance he could fall.
That's what I was going to ask you, is a couple things here. Where do you see him going in this draft? And obviously every draft season, the question is, what is that NFL draft comparison for you?
Well,
that player comp.
I think we'll get to the player comp. I think a lot of teams will begin to notice, especially as the combine and pro days and stuff go on, the type of just physical raw ability that this guy has. But I think once they get him in the room and they realize, oh, he's intelligent too, like he can actually, like his play recognition, how he recognizes certain things on the field, I think teams will notice that, and he may go higher than what he's projected to go right now. But right now they still have him slated as possibly a late first round guy, maybe early second. So if the Lions don't use that draft capital, they may have a chance at him. And to me, I know there's different draft comps out there, and I know you looked up one. We'll get into that. To me, he kind of reminds me of a Trey Hendrickson, maybe just a tad bit smaller, but in terms of the speed and how he gets in the backfield and just the multiple ways that you can use him, he kind of reminds me of Trey Hendrickson in that sense.
Hey, dope. And I know NFL's comparison was Logan Hall as well.
It's not bad. It's not bad, but I think he has the potential to even be better than him, man, because he has just a lot of raw skill and ability. You can't teach size, and he's the perfect combination of just IQ, not relying on his speed, but somebody that can still utilize his speed and strength.
Yeah, and obviously the other question is this, as it relates to him, you believe that he has that ability to potentially hit the ground running day one, or you're looking for him to kind of ramp up as the season goes?
I think he does have potential to hit the ground day one, because if you put something like this next to an Aiden Hutchinson, or bookend him with an Aiden Hutchinson, I think that unlocks a lot on this defensive line. He's somebody that can come in, and while he is a little bit raw still, he's somebody that can adjust to the game quickly. And I feel confident in what Kelvin Shepherd and Casey Rogers can. And Casey Rogers is the key defensive line coach. I think he would love to have somebody, an athlete like this on his defensive line. And I feel like if he doesn't start right away, he can become a starter in short order.
Hey, man, and you know what, man? I'm looking here. Greg says beast mode, man.
Yeah, no.
Greg also says, I agree, Ken. Let me see this. Skydog says he keeping his eyes on where the ball is.
Yeah.
Especially when you see him drop it. There's the play right there, dropping back into coverage. That was pretty dope that he's reading the quarterback, because the quarterback's going through progressions. And you're taking one of your rushers off the line. You know what I mean? So the quarterback might have a little bit easier time, but he's still able to diagnose, read, survey, and make a play. And
you notice some defensive linemen, when they have to drop back in coverage, sometimes they second guess themselves. Sometimes, you know, they're worried about trying to be in the right position. It's kind of seamless with him. It's natural. But that goes to just show you how he can diagnose a play quickly. And it's not just about being able to get to spots quickly. It's also being able to diagnose and react.
Yeah, look, Randall Small says he's going to move up after the combine.
No, I think so. But this is somebody that the Lions should have on their radar, and I feel like he's a Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell type of guy. He loves football. All he cares about is football. And I can see him coming in and fitting this culture perfectly. I could.
Hey, definitely, man. Another
Sam,
great breakdown.
you the other draft coverage guy here.
Yeah.
I got to get your takes on just what I've said about Landon Jackson. I know you've seen some of his tape as well. What do you feel about the player?
I mean, I think if you were to rank him in terms of edge rushers, that he's higher than Josiah Stewart. I will admit that. I think he's somebody that if you don't get him at 28, you probably won't get him at 60. He's got the size. I think and honestly, that's more important. The fact that he's just a physical beast. He's got more power. I actually was really impressed by him dropping back into coverage and making that pass.
And he has multiple plays like that. That's just one.
No, call me impressed. Call me impressed. Like I said, I will openly admit, Landon Jackson, if I were to just in a vacuum, better prospect than Josiah Stewart.
Okay.
I like him, man. You know what? It's cool because through this process, just like last year, you guys were able to profile realistically all of the different players at the positions of need, and it was cool to see how things played out because some of those players are here. Vaki, right? Manu, Mahogany.
Shout out Broder for Lad McConkey. He hit on that one.
Great take.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I take this stuff seriously, because you might miss out on a guy like this.
Exactly.
What he's breaking up with Josiah Stewart, it's like, you know what? We know how we are as fans when our guy isn't there. But what I found comfort with is how you guys break this stuff down, and especially just ahead of this draft season. The Lions have a lot of options.
Which is why I say the draft will be there, so I wouldn't fans shouldn't worry too much about the draft, because even if he does, let's say, make a big move, trade the first round picks away, he's somebody that's good in later rounds, and he will be able to identify talent. And but if you don't, you got a guy like this out there, I think that's a pretty damn good move.
Shad said Jackson is the truth. He's an actual baller. And Broder says, did I hear Lad McConkey?
Yeah. Hey, shout out Broder, man. Shout out
Broder, man. Hey, you know what? Another great breakdown, man. This was
Thank you.
Landon Jackson, man, he's explosive, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, just what jumps off the screen is disruptive, and he just has kind of this natural instinct, and that motor just doesn't stop.
Yeah,
so.
I can't wait to do more of these breakdowns. I started to do Nick Scorton. I ended up changing my mind and doing this one. I saw somebody in the chat saying Nick Scorton could arguably be the best pass rusher in the draft. A little bit. I saw some of the tape. Not, it could have been better, but we'll get into that on a future episode. But man, that's Landon Jackson.
Hey, we got ball knowers, we got puck knowers, we got hoop knowers, we got all types of knowers.
Hey,
we got one of our puck knowers on the line.
Speaking of puck knowers,
yes, we do.
We've got Justin is going to be joining us when we come back.
Shout out.
Preview the Big Four Nations final between USA and Canada, which is, man, we are all on.
Hey, shout out Canada Bob in the chat.